Hey everyone, it is Matt with ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. I'm not here for my impeccable fashion sense as I'm fixing my collar, but actually to talk about the best contest in the world. Well, allegedly that is. So yes, we're talking about the mildly chaotic, occasionally controversial but always fun Eurovision Song Contest. And this is now July 2025, if my calendar isn't lying to me. And we all know already social media is a buzz, and I do not want to miss that. And I want to talk you through about what has happened as well as share my thought. So we're going to sift through the news, the rumors, the cryptic leaks, and as well as any delusional fan theories that are out there right now and put them to rest. I have plenty of opinions already, so with no further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's talk Eurovision. Alright, as said, there are plenty of thoughts that I have, but before we get started, you know the drill. Please like this video before we continue because that helps me to survive in this crazy algorithm here on YouTube. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and you get plenty of Eurovision news throughout the months and years to come. Comment always below and share your thoughts as well because I'd love to see them, I'd love to read them, and yeah, that's all there is to it. Alright, let's jump into it. Okay, so I got my list of topics here. The first one is, of course, who is hosting? Now, we all know, of course, Austria won the contest. JJ's win in Basel with Wasted Love. Well done, JJ. You gave us the feels, and more importantly, you gave us a heartbeat because that final split screen was intense to say the least, and I leave it at that. But the Austrian broadcaster ORF already scrambling to pick a host city, and it shouldn't come as a surprise that Wien, the Stadthalle 16,000 lead, is the obvious choice. They actually hosted Austria, that is the contest, twice before, in 1967 as well in 2015. In 1967 I was busy with not being born, but I was there in 2015 and it was an amazing experience. I would not be sad going back there. They got the experience and apparently a proposed slogan, Europe, shall we dance? Which sounds like it's something my aunt would say at a wedding. But hey, hold the phones. Innsbruck is still here, thrown its hat in the ring too, and planning the Olympiahalle apparently. And they also have a slogan, together on top, so which is Alpine chic, I don't know. Now Graz, the city, was also in contention or in the mix, but then they dropped out when somebody called them and said, hey, do you have 30 million euros? And they were like, Vienna is the safe bet, but Innsbruck could shake things up, and I am all in favor of a delicious curveball. Therefore, give me Innsbruck Mountains over Vienna Deja Vu. That's what I will say. I wanted to Innsbruck anyways because the best place in the world is right next to Innsbruck, called Meters, with the best Sommerrodelbahn in the world. So I want to go back there. I haven't been there in like almost 10 years. So yes, Innsbruck. But realistically, it'll be Vienna, right? What is your pick though? Or maybe one of the other ones? Let me know below in the comments section. So we're not only going to Austria, but we know who will not be going to Austria, or at least not as an executive supervisor, and that is Martin Osterdahl. Yes, currently the executive supervisor, he's out starting this summer. The guy who got booed in Malmo 2024, we all remember that.
Hey, ze wordt boegeroepen. Hoor je dat? Ja, heel hard. Dat heeft te maken met de uitsluiting van Nederland.
And then caught flag for every EBU misstep that was done, especially over the last few years. Now, Martin Green, who is the director, the ESC director, he is temporarily stepping into that position, and I guess it's fair to say Osterdahl's 5 years as the executive supervisor, it was a roller coaster for a lot of reasons. I mean, he started with the COVID chaos in 21 and even in 22 to a certain extent. Then we all know about the 24 Dutch disqualification mess, you name it. There were plenty of other things that were going on. Now, he did make Eurovision a more global brand, whether it's through the rest of the world voting and more online presence, which sounds great, until you realize it's not a global contest. So only EBU countries, as we all know, and Australia right now are eligible to take part and get to play. So the global push felt a little bit more of a cash grab more than anything to me, but credit where it's due, I guess. He pulled it off. Was his tenure successful or not? And I know that he is, to say the least, a polarizing figure in terms of how he handled Eurovision these past few years. And to be fair, a lot of the things that happened fell on his shoulders that he have not been responsible for or weren't his fault. But here is what I will say. The biggest concern that I had with him, or my biggest beef, was the transparency or the lack thereof. I've had my fair share of gripes I've talked about in previous videos. I know I'm not alone about that as well. And Osterdahl's approach, just in general, to press and info flow came off as antagonistic, almost like he was guarding state secrets instead of just a song contest and the rules. A lot of these perceptions, whether wrong or not, could have been avoided if there would have been more communication. The question is, was he a genius or a punching bag? A bit of both, if you ask me. Now, with the Eurovision 70th anniversary coming up, I think this is the perfect opportunity for a reset, or at least a semi-reset. Now, good luck, Martin Green, stepping in for now. This job's not for the faint of heart, and I know it's not always as fun as it sounds, and we want to give him a little bit of room here to grow, or, you know, to pick things up where they left off. We don't know if we're going to have a new supervisor by the end or before the next Eurovision. That remains to be seen. We talked about Martin Osterdahl being out, transitioning into another topic of, are they in or are they out? The topic that keeps Eurovision fans up at night, myself included, is Israel's participation. And after their second place in 24 with New Day Will Rise, winning controversial, it's a controversial televote win. Khan, the Israeli broadcaster, they are planning to compete again in 26, but it's not that simple. A lot of people are finally speaking up, and by people I often mean broadcasters, because the power lies with the broadcasters, not as fans, not the influence, whatever you may think. There are several broadcasters that spoke out: Slovenia, Iceland, Spain, etc. There are others, and Slovenia actually did threaten to pull out unless the EBU addresses the transparency issues over the 25 televote win of Israel. It goes back to the transparency thing that I talked about earlier when it comes to Martin Osterdahl. Last week, actually, the EBU General Assembly met in London, and they debated actually Israel's future in the contest. I guess this is the first time they actually looked at it seriously. No vote happened, by the way, thanks part to the BBC pushing for more talks in the meantime. But sources say most broadcasters would have actually voted against Israel if it came to it. So apparently the EBU is now bringing in a TV exec, a mysterious unknown one, so who knows who that's going to be. They're digging into this, and with a report due this fall. What that report entails remains to be seen, of course. Here is where I stand on the issue, of course, and I talked about it ad nauseum. So Israel shouldn't be in the contest, certainly not right now, and the reasons are pretty obvious, and I don't want to rehash it all the time, but that's where I stand. Now, if the conflict, the war, is still raging and Israel is allowed to compete, I'd bet my bottom dollar that several countries would pull out, and they'd be right to do so. This goes even beyond the should they take part anyways at this point in time, but I don't even want to cross that bridge yet. Eurovision is about music, right? And not propaganda, and Israel's televote dominance feels like a calculated move. We all know, with, you know, all these ads that were everywhere in each video, the advertisement on billboards, in Times Square, people voting actually up front before they didn't even watch the show just for the sake of it. And that's sad, though. I hate seeing artists stuck in the middle of all of this, whether it's in Israel or other artists. It just sucks. It just sucks. The EBU is dodging the issue for now, but it is not going away. We need to have an answer. And what do you think, though? Keep it civil below in the comment section. What would be the best thing? I know that the EBU, I mean, this is just speculation on my part. I should put that out there, the disclaimer. It feels as they're waiting for any sort of events occurring, meaning maybe Israel will finally stop doing what they're doing in Gaza and other countries right now. Or there's even the talk about Khan, the Israeli broadcaster, who is a public broadcaster, allegedly separate and not under the control of the Israeli government, right? That's one of the reasons why the EBU has been pushing for Israel to stay, because the broadcaster is independent, but they may end up, there's currently like some kind of legislation out there for them to become a private broadcaster. That would change things a lot, and that would give the EBU another reason to not have Israel in. Whether or not that's going to happen remains to be seen. We have to wait and see. Now, speaking of the televote, let's talk about the elephant in the voting booth. Look, the system's broken, right? The televote and jury vote, they have been problematic forever, and we talked about the jury vote quite a bit in previous years. Not much talked about the televote, but 25 to me was the final straw, and apparently to a lot of people as well. Israel's televote landslide raised eyebrows. We all know that it's not just about them, though, to be fair, when we talk about fixing the televote. Diaspora voting, neighbor voting, you name it, it's turning into a geopolitical chess game, and it has gotten worse, progressively worse over the last few years. The televote's too easy to manipulate. We've seen that right now, and once the genie's out of the bottle, good luck trying to squeeze it back in. That's not going to happen, so we need to talk about it. Yes, the jury vote is no saint either. We've all seen those strategic votes and scores in the past, a few years ago, even now. So I totally get it. The EBU needs to fix both things. Pronto. Maybe cap the televote influence. And by cap, I don't mean less than 50%, but maybe voting 20 times seems a lot. Maybe bring down the numbers. Maybe don't allow voting until the show starts. Maybe don't, figure out why there's so many people voting that don't watch the show. It makes very little sense. So look into that. Rethink the juries, how they're being picked as well. We have 5 people in the music industry, and with such a small number, any sort of manipulation is so strong. And just hear me out, I say before, fix all the neighbor voting, friendly voting, all that stuff we're talked about, and not just pretend it's cute. It's not. And this is not just saving about this contest's reputation, which is important, but it's really just about fairness. It is a contest. It is a competition. Countries deserve a shot based on their songs, not on their borders. And the EBU has been kicking this can down the road for ages, but 26 is a chance to get it right. Please. And one more thing, and then I'll get off my soapbox, although it's so nice up here. The contest direction in general, I think, as I'm talking about this. Look, I get it. Eurovision is a spectacle, and the producers love leaning into this reality TV drama, for the lack of a better word. But this is a competition, not a soap opera. The focus should be on fairness, the contest, not who gets the biggest cry when they get 0 points and the camera zooms into their faces, or the biggest budget. Richer broadcasters can afford jaw-dropping staging, while the smaller ones are left scraping by. Then the running orders, don't get me started, the death slots, and it's all so calculated. It's like giving a sprinter a head start at the Olympics, and not cool, EBU. The focus, yes, you want to have a show that's entertaining. It is already tremendously entertaining. I think most people will agree with that. You don't have to sacrifice the contest, the competition aspect of it. And I'm hoping 26 dials back the theatrics, doubles down on the contest aspect of it, and make it genuine and real. Don't add fake cheers. The list goes on and on. Make it about the music, not the hype. A great show is fine. I want it. But don't sacrifice fairness for a viral moment. Yeah, the fans deserve better, y'all. And so do the artists, to be fair. And let's see some actual reform, not just lip service. All right, let's also talk about who is in and who is out. Of course, there's still so much going on here. It's a list of several countries that have already confirmed their intent to take part. Albania, Austria, Germany, Greece, Israel. You see the names. I think you can read. I don't have to tell you all of them. And this list will grow, obviously. And by year's end, we should have the full lineup. Now, we're talking about, again, with Israel's participation up in the air at this point, we could potentially drop to 36 countries participating, or even lower. That would be the lowest since the semi-final system was introduced over 2 decades ago. And that's a red flag, EBU. So many countries not taking part. I'm crossing my fingers. They're wooing broadcasters who've been sitting out. Romania, Moldova, North Macedonia, Bulgaria. The list goes on and on. Bring them back, make Eurovision more affordable. And just come back, y'all. We miss you. It's not the same. Some other news, we do know that Bosnia and Herzegovina just announced today that they will not be back for Eurovision 26. Unfortunately, would have been great. 10 years since their last participation, but it's not going to happen. They just don't have the money. They have to pay off their debt, and then they have to find private funding to make Eurovision happening, and they're just not there yet. And I don't know if there will be anytime soon. On a potentially good note, though, there are talks allegedly between Kazakhstan and the EBU to have the country Kazakhstan actually debut at the contest next year. That would be huge. That would be one new country, the first one since Australia joined in 2015, right? So over 10 years. Now, in case you don't know, Kazakhstan is not a full member of the EBU. They are an associate member. So they would need a special invitation, same as Australia that they've been getting for the past decade. So it is certainly possible. Kazakhstan also has been taking part in Junior Eurovision on several occasions, starting in 2018, I want to say. Don't quote me on this one. And they brought home several great results. They were runner-up, they were third place, they're doing really well. Yes, they haven't been in there for like a couple of years, but they do want to be part of Eurovision. And with all these countries not coming back, apparently, we need more. And I think if there's a country that should be invited, Kazakhstan would make sense, right? No? What do y'all think? But that would be great. Now, we know that there are a lot of countries that won't be back anytime soon for political reasons, obviously. Russia won't be back. I mean, they're not even in the EBU anymore. Belarus won't be back. Unfortunately, Hungary, Turkey, they're not going to be back. So, I don't know about Slovakia, but probably not. They've been gone for so long now. So, I'm hoping with Martin Green taking the lead and maybe some fresh blood coming in, this will change. So, this is such an important year, 2026. And I know we probably say that every year, but I personally feel like very strongly about 2026. I think I wouldn't call it a make or break thing for Eurovision. Eurovision will continue to exist post 26, but I think this is a huge milestone. You know, having the 70th anniversary and all of that stuff, a new executive supervisor with all the drama and controversies that happened recently. This could be a reset, a fresh start, and really make the contest better than ever. So there you have it, my thoughts about hosting, with the executive supervisor being out, the vote's a disaster, the contest is too reality TV, and not many countries are taking part. It's all just negative. Now, I say that with a lot of hope, with a lot of faith in the contest, and I am rooting for Eurovision. That's kind of my thing. So what do you think? What is important to you? What did I leave out? Leave your thoughts below in the comment section. Thank you for watching, y'all, and I will see you in the next video.